right. Okay, so working in customer success at Dust means that we probably spend 80% of our time on use cases. We brief use cases, we discuss use cases, we explore use cases, we build use cases with you and also for us. And the part that we love the most is when you come to us with brand new use cases out of nowhere, super innovative, that we haven't seen coming. And so today we have Etienne from Wakam, Hugues from Contentsquare, and Titouan from Doctolib who are going to present killer high-value use cases with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Adele. Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about AI insurance product designer. I'm working for Wakam. Wakam is an insurance company. Is everyone able to see? Okay. So Wakam is a B2B2C insurance company based in France, and we have a subsidiary in the UK. We are working across 32 countries in Europe, and around Europe we are 250 employees, and we rely a lot on operation delegation. So we are a business that needs scalability because we have a huge number but few margins, so we need scalability. That's why we deployed Dust at Wakam in 2024, almost 2 years now, and we achieved on our internal employees 90% monthly active users, almost 80 on a weekly active users, and we have more than 136 agents deployed in production. We had more. We had a big governance topic about downscaling the size of all of this because it started to be unmanageable. And we have a few tricks on that with the API, etc., etc. If you want to discuss more about that. The first phase was about knowledge assistant with RAG, like everyone else. Second phase was agents doing action, and we are in the third phase, which are super agents. So basically, that's the busy use case on a high value stream for us, and I'm going to speak about some of them. The super agent principle for us is basically an agent that has its own capabilities and the possibility to orchestrate other sub-agents. So in the use case of building insurance products, we have one super agent that we call Johnny Ive, which is a famous product designer, and that can work on its own and delegates operation to sub-agents around underwriting, finance, data, legal, compliance, and review with the 4 eyes principle. So we have multi-agent routing, 4 eyes principle, and a human in the loop, basically at some step of the workflow. The agent is able to notify the human experts that will be able to review the work, validate, move to the next step, or go back to the previous step and do the work again. Johnny Ive is basically the representation of our core insurance business. We are insurance product, bespoke insurance product factory. Distributors come to see us to build insurance products, basically, that the rest of the market is not going to do in a very short time. So basically what you see here is the life cycle of an insurance product. It starts with pre-qualification, then market intelligence, then product design, then we build the actual product into our digital platform, the APIs, the data contracts, the legal contracts, etc., etc. And then we go live, and there is a whole new phase of product monitoring, etc. that goes on. The focus today of Johnny Hive is on building new insurance product. It's for another meetup about portfolio monitoring. This use case has 21 orchestrated steps, 10 sub-agents, specialized sub-agents. You can enter, it's not just a workflow where you always need to go from step 1 to step 21. You have different pathways, so it's a matrix where you can review an existing insurance product. You can just do a market research. So basically, based on the usage that we had, we analyze the conversation and we extract some specific use cases that we didn't see at first when we designed the agent. A key part of what we built is based on the 4 eyes principle. So basically, we are a regulated company on a regulated market. So there is key steps where we need gates, where the work is reviewed first by AI, another model that has another prompt that has the same tools that can redo all of the work to verify what the first one has done, and humans that at the end review the work. Basically, it's like when you use AI to code, you code with your AI model, then you go into a review mode with another prompt, another context window. It reviews the work, and then human takes the work and validates if it's good enough to go into production or not. Same principle, but for business. I will do a quick demo just after that. But know that the way it was built by the business. So at first it was one big agent that was doing everything. And then we split it piece by piece. And my team, I have an AI engineering team, is working on the different streams that you see about, okay, now that we have a good prototype, it has made business impact. Basically, there is part of our insurance product design process that were taking weeks, or that were not done at all, like market research, or very deep market research that we can do in a few hours now, or less than a few hours. So once the prototype has proven its worth, my team takes the relay, has taken the relay, and we are working on alignment with the rest of the company, with governance. Basically, we need the ability to maintain it, to make evolutions, for it to live through times. Some guardrails. There is part of the process that need deterministic checks. We need audit trail. We need trace log, etc., etc. And then, now that we have a prototype where we know what it's doing, it's pretty stable, we can do evaluation on that. So basically, automated tests, specific metrics that we want to evaluate. And that's answering one of the questions about what about hallucination, etc. So once you have a prototype that is working 80% of the time, it's good enough to start some evaluation, automated evaluation. So let's see it in action. Je lance ou pas? So basically, it's a dust agent, nothing new. So I launched Johnny Hive in a demo mode for you to not see anything confidential. So basically, he chose to create a new pet insurance in Germany. So what you will be able to see is market research, competitive analysis, regulatory checks, pricing architecture, document generation, etc., etc. So basically, what we've done is it's a real workflow. Huh? There is steps, there is progression bar, etc., etc. And there is gates. So basically, there's key steps of the workflow where the agent stops, requests a formal approval to be able to go to the next steps. Everything is logged for now into a Notion page. We will move to a more robust system, like an API with an MCP server on top of it. So on this step, he has done the market research. So if we look at what he produced. So you have a complete market research. Basically, if we want to do a pet insurance in Europe, the size of the market, the pet population, the penetration rate of insurance of pets inside the market, forecast, etc., etc. So then I move on. Okay, it's nice. I know that I want to do that. I go to the next phase. So this is a phase where we are working on pricing. So basically what it does, it's pulling every structured and non-structured information inside our own system, the other insurance products that we already done that are in the same business. It's pulling the pricing, the live data that we have on Snowflake, basically is gathering every information needed to be able to produce a pricing for this new product. And then there is the dashboards, etc., that we can look at with the projection, where the competition stands, etc., etc. If I accelerate, it's talking a lot. But imagine yourself, it's not just me, one human doing all of that. There are different business experts that use that at different steps of the process, where it's not me or the human that asks the question. It's more the flow is starting, and at some point, someone is going to be notified by the agent. Then there is gateway. So basically, it's producing a specific frame for that to be reviewed in specific committees where we have human approval of everything. So the frame part is helping a lot with the new slide deck. And then if I move on again, I have another. So this one is basically a mission control. So it's a checklist. So we are at near the end of the product building. So it's checking specific gateways, specific rules, etc. And giving some headlights about everything. And because, it's a multi-agent system, it's reporting who done what at which step. So basically, if we go in the rest of the conversation, there is a hands-off to specific agents. So basically, and we prefer to do that than in the background running for the agents to have the complete context of the conversation, and for the human to choose if he wants to iterate with this specific agent on the topic or just to move on with Johnny AI. So yeah, I'm done for the demo. Is there any specific question or question at all?
Show the palm.
Hmm?
Show the palm.
Just for the record, the prompt went over 100,000 characters, which is the limitation of test for a special. So basically, we extract the agent configurations through API. We ask another agent what can be a skill, what is repetitive, what can be moved into specific documentation, what can be moved into a sub-agent, etc., etc. So meta-analysis with other agents is really a great way to optimize that. And it was before Sidekick.
Yeah, sorry. First, thanks for the demo. It's like super impressive. Maybe you can send the frame afterward. Now, my question was about agent reviewed by other agents, just to understand what do the like controller agents bring that couldn't be integrated to the prompt directly. Like you were talking about context, like different context windows. Are there something else?
So basically, it's another model. We use Gemini. We use Claude Opus as the main agent, as the main model for the main agent, and we use Gemini 3.1 Pro Preview High Reasoning as the reviewer. Basically, in the instruction, it has the mission to criticize what the other has done for them to be able to iterate. So it's an against prompt. And it has the same tool, the same data source to be able to verify each point. And for now, it seems to be working pretty well.
Okay, so the main difference is mainly the model.
The model, and we say, okay, you will be given the work by another agent. Your mission is to verify everything.
Okay, because it doesn't work if you ask the agent to challenge himself.
He's going to seek for shortcuts, or he's going to try to tell you, okay, this test is green, but not completely. Yeah. Because the more and more that we have new version of models, they are task-oriented and task achievement-oriented. So they absolutely want a green flag at the end. So they will try to smuggle their way.
Hi, thank you for the demo. My question is about the Notion audit that you mentioned. You said that everything will be auditable on Notion. How did you set that up exactly?
So basically, it's the MCP server of Notion, wrapped through a skill with a specific instruction about what page, what to do with the page, what to not do with the page. And it's inside a page where on Notion there are specific rights on the page and the history of what has been done by who and by what. Yeah, it's not the best thing. It's working most of the time, but basically with the Notion MCP tool, it's trying to insert multiple blocks at the same time. So you can have step one after step two, things like that. But that's why we want to move to basically we have an insurance back office. It is a project management tool where we have every step of the workflow, the deliverables that we expect. Basically, what we want to do is the agents to produce and record the deliverables directly inside our insurance back office.
Okay, so in the instruction of the agent itself, you said for every answer that you do, for every output, you need to also write it in Notion.
Yes.
Okay, very clear. Thank you.
If the user has accepted what you are produce. Otherwise, it's just a recording draft.
Okay, thank you.
And it's useful if you want to hand over basically your session to another one, or to redo that through another conversation. Basically, you have a clean context, a page with every information.
Yeah, two linked questions. First one, what kind of elements you extract from this first use case to build kind of your framework for other strategic cases? And second, maybe I let you first answer this question.
Basically, it helped us test the limits of Dust and to add some new features, features that we have now. So yeah, basically, in theory, we knew that regardless of the software, but just the AI capabilities, and if we give the right tool to the right AI model, that we could achieve that in theory. The hardest part was basically to put the business knowledge inside the instruction and to link everything and to get the right data source with the right data at the right time. But otherwise, yeah.
Okay, and your roadmap for this product, I suppose that it is continuous improvement.
Yeah, basically because the whole company wants us to build super agents, we are on a budget allocation approach. So we are working on that this quarter, and we'll see for the next quarter.
How many iterations do you have in version?
How many
Iteration. How many versions?
versions of 116? Do we still have enough time? One last question.
How long and how many people to build that?
I don't know if you will trust me, but the chairman of the company, during 3 months with business experts, and me, my support on the technical tools, etc.
So 2 plus knowledge of expert.
Yes. And then there is the industrialization part, where it's going to be a long journey. But it's already proven value, and we already save time now. So that's why we invest in industrialization. Okay, so I will let the floor to Hugues from Contentsquare.
Merci. Hop. Tac. So, hello everyone. My name is Hugues. I'm working at Contentsquare within the go-to-market organization, and today I'm going to show you how we build an all-in-one AI agent for the whole go-to-market team. So, from SD AI first company, within a product, within the way we develop new things, and so on. But also, we want to implement it internally for teams. So we want to make sure that as we're moving fast, we are acquiring new companies, we're changing pricing, we're changing ways of working very often. We want to make sure that we keep the team focused and we can, at scale, help them do a better job with 3 opportunities: help them be more efficient, save time, be able to scale best practices across individual regions, tiering, and so on. And in the end, as we're working for a go-to-market team, win more money or save more money with renewals. We started this project back in February with a POC, and we started generalizing it in June. And how we approach it. Basically, as a former consultant, I try to have a consultancy-like approach for this thing. So first of all, I wanted to make sure that what I designed was going to be a product. So I wanted to make sure that I was very clear on what was the needs of my user and what were the opportunities for that. So we conducted lots of interviews, around 30 of them, from individual contributors to VPs and so on, with customer success to begin with, and also other teams working with them, to make sure that we were targeting the right use cases and we see what were the elements we could do. From that, we detected 5 main opportunities. First of all, saving time, which was one of the main issues our CSM were telling us, that we had information scattered around many Tableau dashboards, Slack channels, Gantt sites, Salesforce, and so on, and they needed some help to gather all of that together. Second thing is to make sure that we were able to do a better job with our customer, to give them how they should use a platform, educate them, inspire them, and guide them, and to do that at scale without recreating the same things over and over again. Third, we wanted to know better our customers. It's kind of strange, but sometimes we may lack information, we may not see some elements, so we wanted to make sure that all these elements, all the knowledge that a CSM and later on sales and SDR needed from a prospect or a customer, they had it at the disposal. Fourth, be more strategic, being able to have enable individual contributors having C-level like talking points and elements to share. And last but not least, not having things coming to them before it's too late, but to be able to be proactive, to detect elements before they started to be an issue, and also to be able to say, this is what you should prioritize, and this is an element of risk where you should focus on. So from these interviews, we identified lots of opportunities that we prioritize with this metric that you see. So what we did is I sit down with several people saying, what is the complexity to be able to do this use case? Do we have the data, or is it documented somewhere of what it looks like so we can build something around it or not? Does it need automation that makes it more complicated? And we asked back the people we interviewed with what's going to be the impact they estimated. Is it going to be from 1 to 5, high or low? Then we decided, okay, with all these use cases, how do we do? I had a firm opinion on this one, is that if I gave 40 or 30 or 20 different agents to the teams, most of them will not be used. Most of people will use the wrong agent, and most of them will forget that even some of the agents even exist. So I said, okay, I want to have a one-stop shop approach. You use one agent called Clara. This is the one you use, and you don't have to ask which one you should ask and what is the right one for your need. And last but not least, as we started prioritizing and shaping the approaches, we had also some new sources, some new use cases, so we tried to build upon it. So now, what does it look like? Today, this is all the thing it can cover, from SDR to a CSM. So we have around more than 40 use cases, including within this agent, that it's supposed to help our go-to-market team from the research up to the renewal. So as you can see, I will not show you the 40 use cases because I think it's going to be a slightly time-consuming, a bit boring. So I'm just going to zoom on some of the elements we've been able to provide. So this is where you can start to see the beast. First of all, if you are SDR, you need to be able to reach out to your prospect and try to get their attention without too much time, too much effort, and without having the time to do real discovery and to do that at scale. So what we did is that we created a template called value hypothesis, and basically just give the name of the company and say, oh, give me a value hypothesis for this company, and this time Tesla. And what it will do is that it will do mostly external search, but also a bit of internal ones, to be able to say, this is the document you should send as an outreach to your prospect in this. What it looks like is basically this frame that is created, where it say, okay, this is what we see as a strategic focus from this company, from what we see from annual report and so on. This is a strategic focus. This is the big trends that we see in the automotive industry for Tesla. That is, of course, related to what we do. We don't do supply chain and so on, so it's not our core business, but to see what elements of the industry is related to us, what type of use cases we can serve with them, and try to have, okay, do a first level conversation with the person in front of it, either on the phone or if they receive these documents, say they did their homework, they actually understand what we are all about, they know about us, and we are talking to right professionals. Second things we decided to also steam for SDRs on sales is to say, okay, you're starting to working on an account, let's see if it's the right fit. So we're taking elements that we have mostly from Salesforce, and don't worry, all the information that you see here are mostly demo ones. I'm just saying fake accounts because I cannot share you our own Salesforce and so on data. Is to say, okay, do me an account profiling and tell me what is this company, give me the information I need to do. And what it does is that it scraps information mostly from Salesforce, from what we have, for all the data instruments that we have in there, but also from external sources, and give you like a nice CP scoring to say, okay, is it going to be a right fit or not? Is it something that you should focus or not really? To make sure that we start to be also more proactive and say, okay, this is something I should dedicate time on it. And when you have a huge portfolio, we can do that at scale to look at this is all the accounts that you have, and we do a priority scoring for all of your accounts to say, okay, by the way, this is the ones that you should focus on more. This is the one that we see from the data that we have the most opportunity for you to focus on. Last but not least, as the other part of my job is also value engineering, so creating business cases, we created a frame that basically does the Excel job for the sales, because they hate Excel, they don't like to use it. So we gave them something a bit more friendly. So basically they can build their own business casing using this frame with, okay, this is the value driver that we have, this is the data that we require for customers, this is going to be the cost, and we create a whole financial analysis and visualization that they can send to customers. This is the sales part. Then you can do also more CSM things to look at all the things that we have from your emails, from Drive, but also from Slack. We use Slack quite a lot, almost as a shadow CRM. And it's looking at everything and say, by the way, this is, you're preparing the renewal. This is all the things that you need to know around this customer. So it's going to pull out all this information to say, okay, as you sit down, this is what you can see. This is all the information that gather in most Snowflake data in very numerous Tableau dashboard. You have them, and you are able to highlight also what are the risks, what are the blockers. This is what you have. And we can do the same thing if you need to do a handover from one CSM to another. You gather all the information from the past year, from the past 2 years if you want, and gather all in one place to say, okay, we have created a frame for more visual elements around adoption and so on. It's going to tell you, okay, I have been able to find the Slack channel, the Drive, the email addresses to do my research, or you need to provide it to me. And by the way, I'm scrolling down, and this is all the things that you need to know. This is the exact summary. This is the KBO that they have. This is what we're doing well with them. This is what we're not doing well. This is the risk, etc., etc. Also, all the friends that we have, I've created a skills for this one to make sure that it's more or less blended with our colors. Our marketing would not say it's blended. For me, it's the right colors. It's good enough at the moment. Last but not least, and this is also this type of innovation coming from the field that is important, is we started to have some sales and CSM collaborating on the same conversation. So they started a conversation with Clara, saying, by the way, this is a Slack channel for this customer, this is a Drive, this is the elements, put all of that, and then they use the same channel to be able to discuss and to say, okay, this is my meeting notes, I'm looking there, please do me a summary and post it on the Slack channel. And they use the same discussion to make sure that they have the same set of information and they can collaborate together. So for example, challenge themselves on having a discussion, or even, for example, if it's like there is a RFP or there is one specific project that we have, they put all the documents in the Slack channel to say, okay, by the way, please monitor progress. And we can create like a project management frame to say, to track action on what is being done on the RFP, as everyone progress, are we on time, etc., etc. We can create an exec summary if we need to brief the head of sale that is going to speak to the other exec on tomorrow, so he has all the background on that. And we can also start creating the RFP presentation using Frame. At the moment, we mostly do screen capture of that, but this is the type of thing that we do. So we're starting to have real collaboration within this discussion within Cloud. So now, where we are and what are the results from that? Basically, it's been more or less 9 months that we launched for CSMs, a bit more like 4 or 5 for the sales. At the moment, I've got like a 90% usage rate from the teams. It means that almost everyone has used it at least once. I would like to use it every day, but at least it's at least once. We have more than 55K discussions that have been made in 9 months. It means that 200 per user, almost more than once per day. This is what I would like to have on my side. And if I were to convert that in hours, I did a very small calculation with asking some people how often you're using it, for what, how much time you're seeing on everything. I would estimate to around 16K hours compared to not having that. Of course, it's biased calculation because you're comparing apples to bananas, because most of the things they would not do without the tool, which is also interesting because they start to do new things or to more things and better things, which is interesting to calculate. To finish, I've got two things. Success factors, what in my view made this project successful. First of all, we had a clear ownership from the start. We had a VP from customer success who was nominated to have the AI for CSM projects. He gave it to me as a project manager, but it was clear if I saw things going in side directions, other teams doing things, I could always pull him in and saying, by the way, as we agreed, I'm in charge of the project, give it to Hugues and don't move on the project for now. Second thing, and this is something I really believe in what we heard previously today, is to make sure that we based on the field, on how the end user will use it. I'm trying to treat it as a product and to make sure that I've got my use cases, but the use cases are based on pains and needs from the user and not what I assume they should be doing. Start small and iterate. We didn't start with 40 use cases. We maybe started with tens, but we improve them over time and try to make it better and try to, and this is something very good with us, is that we can very, very agilely release new things and communicate it to the field. And last but not least, and this is the main difficult part, is how to make sure that people understand what's within this agent, what it's not, why we have decided some elements to drop it and not to include it, etc., etc. Also to express around new things that have been released. So it's communicate, communicate, and communicate. It's hard work, and to be honest, it's not the most fun work, but this is what is needed to make sure that everyone understands what your agent is about, understands what they can do and why they should use it. To conclude, some issues we have faced and things I've learned along the way. First of all, we had many elucidations or partial or wrong answer at the start. It's something that happened. To be completely honest, I think that LLM and us got very, very much better since we started. I don't have this worry anymore. It was my biggest worry at the beginning. Now it happens every so often, but maybe it's because it's better prompted, maybe because the technology is better, maybe both, but still, I don't have that many hallucinations today. So for me, it was the biggest risk. I don't see it anymore. Second thing is, if you want to implement, this is a change management approach. So you need to make sure that you embark people. I'm trying to get ambassadors in all the SDRs, CSM, and sales team to know, okay, tell me what's happening on the field. Tell me what people are saying. Because we only see a very few feedback that is happening, even if we ask. It's a way for me to understand and to say, give me your priorities. Tell me, my job is to make it work. Your job is to tell me what works mean for you. Third is we need to adapt. Dust is a product that evolves for the best, but still it means sometimes you have to redo what you did previously. They have released skills. It's great things. But to be honest, when I start to say, I was a bit bored by that because I say, I need to do that all over again. I didn't want, I was lazy, but still, it's for the best. And last but not least, and this is the biggest issue I'm having at the moment, is that it starts to be a Frankenstein because we have a bit of prompt in that way, a bit of prompt in that way. It's easy to do the first 80% very well in half an hour. The last 20% is what requires work. And then you iterate to get exactly what you have, and your prompt becomes longer, and then you have a bit of prompt in your agent, in the sub-agent that you call, etc., etc. It starts to be a nightmare and starts to take too much time to run. So this is what I'm doing. I'm preparing in the background a V2 where I'm using much more skills more than sub-agents. I'm trying to redo the whole architecture using Sidekick, but also one specialized agent that we have internally to help us prompt and review our agents. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to release to my ambassadors next week. This is the V2. Please test it exhaustively. Use it every time you were using it, Clara, and tell me what works, what doesn't work, so we can make sure that we release a V2 that is actually much faster, but at the same level of quality. So it's all I have on my side. I don't know if you have any question.
First, thank you for the presentation. I have one question regarding the way you're gathering all the data, because of course you need to gather a lot of sources of data to provide the best insights. And you mentioned at one point all the meetings summary, I guess with your clients. How do you gather all those insights? Because I know it's a challenge we can face given the multiplicity of the way we can have meetings with clients, like via call, via just a Google call, whatever, and the confidentiality linked to it.
So regarding the data, the good thing that we have is that we're using Slack quite exhaustively. I even Dust is also a way for us to even use more Slack. I have some CSMs where now they put all their transcript into Dust to post it directly into the Slack channel, because they know that if they do it, when they need to ask something about their account, they got something very stored very exhaustively. So for me, it's a win. It's a virtual circle that you can put, especially in that. So I'm putting Slack as my main source, and then say, okay, you can go in Drive, but in Drive just look for this type of documents, business reviews, or important documents, not all the one that we have. You can go also into your emails, and I've also provided time framed in the prompt to say go look into last month, last 6 months, last year by default, and say, okay, if the user asks for something else, do what the person is asking, but by default this is what we say to prevent the things from crashing. To be honest, when we have this very long agent with this very long conversation, we're starting to have these elements. So what I'm saying is to make sure that you prioritize the main elements when you have it. And for example, for Snowflake, we didn't put all the tables. We decided, for example, for adoption, to put things a bit more aggregated to make sure that it doesn't go in a way. And same thing for contract info with the CSM, with the owner, what is the ACV, what are the dates. I'm saying go in Snowflake, don't go in Salesforce, because in Snowflake, we have already made this task of selecting the right information, the one that are source of truth. So for me, I'm working very much with BI team and data team to know what are my source of truth, to make sure that I prioritize those ones contrary to the others. Regarding confidentiality, it's an issue we are facing, because maybe we open too much data to the whole company at the beginning. It's not really on my side on this one. I'm pushing to have a bit more restricted actions. You can use spaces. For example, we have created for everything that we have in Google Drive. We decided to take it out from the company-wide space because it was polluting the Dust company-wide agent. We had some confidential information surfacing back from that. So we put it only into the go-to-market space to make sure that only CSM, SDR, and sales, so people who should be able to access it, would access it. And then, for example, for all value proof points and so on, what we do is that we have clear rules of saying this is what is shareable, this is what is confidential. So you can read it, but you cannot share it externally.
Do you allow Clara to write directly in Salesforce, or is it always reviewed or transits through Slack?
At the moment, it's a read-only in Salesforce, but we have the project to put it as write. The idea was first to test it as a read to make sure that it was working and so on. And this is something that we are considering at the moment, but also if we look at the maturity, here we can see three levels of maturity. First conversation, then automation, and finally like scoring and next best action suggestion. At the moment, we are finished level 1. We're entering level 2 of automation, and we're doing a bit of level 3. So on automation, we're not doing that much. For example, Slack, it's completely load to pause because anyway you can edit. Emails, I need to double check the company policy of what we have, but for the last I've checked, it was draft only, not sent. And anyway, in the prompt, I say you can send email internally, but you cannot send it externally, because at the moment I was still a bit unsure, and I want people to have the habit also of double checking what they do. And last but not least, for example, especially for frames, when we want to share it externally, as we are about to do, the question is to say, by the way, you own what you share and what is being done. So if the AI is doing something wrong and you don't check it, you don't correct it, it's your fault, not mine. It's the same thing. If you send a PowerPoint that is wrong with wrong information, it's not the fault of PowerPoint, it's your fault. So it's the same thing with AI.
It's always the fault of
Yes, this is more maybe a slightly technical question, but you mentioned that it was best to switch to skills instead of sub-agents. I haven't used skills yet, but what concretely, where is it better? Why is it better concretely?
Lots of things come more from personal work and testing than, let's say, study background and so on, as I don't have a technical background myself. I'm very business-centric. I've tested things. So what I'm saying is that when you create a sub-agent, Clara was going almost at the length maximum length possible for the instead of prompt, and we had an agent querying Salesforce querying a Snowflake that was having the same issue. So if you put a very long prompt, calling out a very long prompt, it was going to crash. So what we said is divided it smaller pieces, and the good thing with skill is that it can be called from one agent to another. So for example, I've got a skill to be able to query PS data, what are the PS missions, what are the PS contracts, and so on. I can use it for CSMs, but it can also be reused in a PS agent, for example. So this is what I see. And sometimes what you can do also is A/B test the thing, is create both, and then have the same run in the same conversation, the two run in the same conversation, and you see what you like most and what you prefer in terms of output and also speed.
Okay, thank you.
So if we don't have any more questions, I think it's Titouan who is going to take next and show you his use case.
I'll start introducing myself. I'm Titouan. I'm working at Doctolib since 5 years now. I'm part of the IT team in charge of mainly AI tools for employee, lots of dust. Just before introducing the use case voice of customer, I will share with you, wanted to notice that I'm not part of data engineering, any kind of teams, or not part of any product management team. So some of you may have built stuff that are similar and with more expertise, but just want to showcase how with AI you can leverage new competencies, even if you're not, it's not your job at the beginning. Doctolib in figures. So for the one who, I mean, pretty much everyone may know Doctolib, but we are 3,000 employees in 4 countries. We have our users are nearly 500,000 healthcare professionals that use Doctolib every day for 90 million patients. And that's gonna matter in the use case I will showcase right after. We have around like 150 product managers and 700 software engineers. I could have showcased thousands of this use case actually, but I think this one can really talk to everyone. It's really, I think, something that everyone shares, and that's why I was mentioning you may have also built already an agent that is similar to mine. So I'm really excited for the question that will happen next and to see what you guys are doing about this topic. So the topic is like voice of customer. So it's wanted to have an aggregated place where anyone in the company can look for feedbacks of our users. So what are like healthcare professional and practitioners thinking about our tools or services and stuff. And mainly, of course, product managers, product marketing managers, and all the strategic teams that are really into those metrics. You can see note the main source that you all use, I guess, for customer voice of customer is like NPS comments, CSAT, OSAT, or any kind of surveys you can send to your clients, or community website post, and all the customer facing teams, I don't know, call transcripts or feedbacks that can happen. So the ambition was really to have a united place because, well, of course, we have already teams looking at NPS comments and performing analysis. What are our NPS scores? What are the main comments? But it's hard to have like mix them all and have like a big sentiment feedback on a global overview from both the main source and what we call more the silent voice that are I don't know, account managers, feedbacks, or like support tickets, some niche feedback that we may not take into account. The V0.1 of my project was to get the BigQuery tables that include all the sources you can see it here, put it in an agent and ask questions. as simple as this. Took me barely 30 minutes to make. If you are looking for overall sentiment analysis, works perfectly. Comex was game changer. They were like the first loving the features. But why I tell about Comex? Because they are not really into product management. They are not really into tech and product. Of course, it's fun for them to have a bot. They can ask questions what everyone thinks about our UX or latest release. They got the answers. It's perfect. But when you deep dive into it, when you deep dive with product managers, and that's what I was mentioning, we have like more than 100. A product manager doesn't care about like the overall sentiment analysis of the product. He cares about his feature and the niche feature he's working on. And that's why having like a generalist prompts that's use tons of data with like no nomenclature, no clusters mapping, poor structured, not working really well. To share, first step was to, of course, make all product managers, product marketing managers to like test the first version. That's make me collect what we call like a golden data source, so like the more than 100 prompts product manager will ask to this kind of voice of customer agents. And if I scroll quickly, you can see like the answer correctly is not that much. Well. But if you're looking at the first version, if you're looking like a pretty much general question, the one I was mentioning about UX, you get an answer that is probably good, global questions. But let's look at more precise questions. Here it's like, can you please propose the feature improvement on PRM? PRM is kind of for like historical product. It's basically the agenda. Unfortunately, didn't find sufficient data in the BigQuery table concerning PRM, because of course, when a practitioner is giving you feedback, he's not telling you a precise break of the products he's talking about, and it's hard for the AI to answer all of this. So interesting, it's what's happened next. So for the V0.2 or the V2 of the voice of customer agents, we did a step back. It was way easier to connect directly the BigQuery tables that exist, but I did the job of extract all of them into Google spreadsheets. So one for each of those data sources. Also adding new data sources, but let's focus on those one for the moment. And say, hey, let's get all the NPS comments, how we can make the AI understand well what is our product architecture, how we can ask like quantitative question on all of this. And that's why we now created like a first agent that is like pre-processing on all our feedbacks. How it basically looks like. So it's an agent that we give kind of like a product mapping, so with different level. So it's basically for each feedback, if you can find which product is linked to which domain, which brick, which feature, what type of issue the customer is talking about. Main one is, of course, pricing. That's come up all the time. And if I get back in the first agent edition mode, so it's basically an agent where we give the mapping I just showed you, the whole product architecture of Doctolib. We explain on like how it should categorize each NPS comments. We have one agent dedicated to each data sources. I just took the NPS one as an example. And thanks to the Google Drive MCP, is like pre-processing all the data. So I have here a Google Sheet with like all my NPS comments, and my first agent is like pre-processing for each comment. Is able to find, for example, this one. It says like sorry if I'm not French speaker. Le logiciel médecin est peu agréable avec l'impossibilité de faire ressortir des informations capitales. That was more funny with like then saying, Doctolib is perfect. Blah, blah, blah. No, we have a good NPS. So back on Dust, my agent is able to retrieve that is the user is talking about our clinical and financial software. The product is clinical, the OS is clinical. It's talking about electronic sales record. And the issue type is a product issue. Issue level 2 is design user experience. And the level 3 is the design clarity. So, so it's basically running on all the NPS comments. And that is the data source of our V02. So that's all those G sheets. I only show you the one from NPS, but of course there is one for CSAT, one for OSAT, one for community. That's feed the new voice of customer V02. And if we look back at the same question we asked, but let's add the same to the V02. For the UX global question, kind of the same answer with more quantitative answers. But if I look back at my PRM question, so can you please propose feature improvement for PRM? Is able to retrieve me based on the analysis of the number of PRM verba teams, all the different bricks. As a product manager, let's say I'm into pro administrative patient file. Okay, can you deep dive on pro administrative patient file? He answered in French, so I had to ask it back in English. It can deep dive on this specific brick of the product and give a useful analysis for product manager to build their roadmap. If you want to have another funny PS comment. So that's basically where I stand at the moment. As you may think, there is lots of kind of bug to fix. For example, if a same comment is talking about two features or like two type of issues, I'm now trying to make my pre-processing agent to duplicate the line in the G sheet. So it has two categories. And yeah, a bit comparison of the first and second version, higher accuracy. Quantitative questions are really key. So we are here right now. V3 will be to add more and more data sources. We want to focus on like small samples. I mean, not small samples. I have like maybe 10,000 NPS comments and stuff, but like if I add all supports tickets, it's around like 60,000 per month. So it's a lot of to process. So we want to make sure first on the quality with small amounts of data sources. The goal will be then to add more and more data sources into it. And as you noticed, it requires still a lot of manual work, extracting and stuff. So as Etienne mentioned, it's more the last step will be more on the industrialization. That's going to be a key. But that will for sure require more like data engineering skills. So yeah, that's it.
Hi, thank you very much. Quick question on the stem of security and legal issues that you may have. Do you have any points where you're like cleaning the feedbacks to make sure that you don't give access to any private information?
Actually, we have clear framework about like what data we can use and not use in Dust. And all the tables I'm extracting from BigQuery, they are all like pre-anonymized by our like data engineering team. So they have like some guardrails in advance of my job to just make sure in the NPS comments table I'm extracting, there is no potential like PHI, stand for like patient health information.
Thank you. After this process, is there any plan to kind of continue the automation and to code pre-code features so that easy easy to do features are already built and ready to deploy?
Honestly, I don't think so. The way the Doctolib product is built, actually, it's like kind of a big stack. So we have no link yet with the developers for the moment. It's really for product management discovery. But as some of you we already discussed in the afternoon, the job is also evolving a lot. Product managers become more and more builders. So it may code some prototype or like some kind of easy visuals, but I doubt it will be some code that will be ready to go in production.
Okay, thanks.
The Google Sheets you've presented, is it like a workaround because your BigQuery environment isn't clean enough, to be read by the agent, or?
Yeah, it's not that it's not clean enough. It's I need to pre-process the data, as I mentioned, to like really map each of the comments. So I'm doing it out of BigQuery. Today, I have no solution to do it directly in BigQuery. That will be the industrialization goal. But as I mentioned, I'm not a data engineer. I'm like, they probably have like some tools to do this better than I do. But for the moment, it's not a workaround about quality. It's more a workaround to pre-process.
Is there any plan also to add some quantitative data on top of the qualitative one that you have? Typically, you say, okay, you've got on this feature, this is what people are saying and so on. But if you look at your analytics and so on, you see that you have a bounce rate of this, or you see people exiting or having issues on this specific part of the page X% of the time.
Yeah, definitely. But that's more for go-to-market person asking, and less product manager, I guess. But we have the question of, instead of making an agent, like voice of customer could be a skill. You can connect directly to an agent that is probably also connected to Salesforce. Okay, sorry. So yeah, definitely in the loop, but already many things to work on before to achieve this, I guess.